Hello, welcome back to the newsroom here on France 24. We're going to be taking you around the world with the international newspapers. Our newspaper reviewer, Kyle Brown, is in the studio with me. Hi there, Kyle.
Hello there.
We're going to be starting off with another financial scandal. How many more can we take, this time involving Standard Chartered?
Yeah, that's right. No bets on whether this is the last one to come. It's the latest in a series. The FT is saying that New York's Department of Financial Services is basically tackling this latest scandal with the fervor that no other institution has of late. And it says that, it frames the story in such a way as to say, listen, the UK bankers are asking, who are the Americans anyway, to say with whom they should be doing their business. And the FT answers their own question, saying, well, the sanctions against Iran have been put in place precisely to avoid any kind of military intervention. And so this is going to be the side that we should be watching, is the financial war, if you like. And so the whole point is that the US has taken a much tougher approach to this kind of thing than is being seen, for example, in the UK. And the Daily Mail goes on to say, all the better too, because London has become a financial centre of dodgy transactions. And they say that the UK government should get a hell of a lot tougher on the kinds of oversight that is being used to monitor financial transactions. And so the whole point there is to say this is just a symptom of a far broader problem. It's not necessarily Standard Chartered alone. It follows HSBC having been tied to money laundering of drug cartels in Mexico, heavy charges there, not to mention, of course, the Libor rate fixing scandal that racked Barclays as well. So Daily Mail is saying it's about time that we get a handle on this. Unfortunately, it has to come from the US.
OK, we ought to say that Standard Chartered are refuting those claims coming from New York there. This is very much an ongoing case. Moving on to another story then, this Russian punk band Pussy Riot. They could be sentenced today in Moscow for performing this concert and spouting anti-Putin lyrics in a cathedral. Now, they could be getting 3 years in jail. A lot of people saying this is very, very harsh. What are the newspapers saying about it? Yes,
it all stems from an anti-Putin concert thrown in a cathedral in Moscow. And Christian Science Monitor is saying that this case, as big as it is, it eclipses the other kinds of things happening in Russia right now. For example, the kinds of measures being launched by Putin since early June. 4 legislative measures have been launched since then, including, for example, an attempt to put in tougher penalties for protesters, to block internet sites, and to deem NGOs benefiting from any aid from abroad as so-called foreign agents. So Christian Science Monitor says this is, basically narrowing down the options for peaceful opposition. And they go on to conclude that, this kind of railroading of opposition risks making them even more radical and creates the possibility of violence.
OK, well, let's move on to a slightly lighter story now, we could say. Hillary Clinton's on her multi-nation African tour. She's in South Africa, and she was talking about democracy and development. Some pundits sceptical, and she's also been having a little fun.
Yes, indeed. She's been dancing up a storm, apparently, in South Africa to wrap up the last leg of her African tour. And you can see her there getting down. And, the Guardian, unfortunately, not so happy about the way it's all turned out, because they say the U.S. discourse about democracy and human rights in Africa is rather hypocritical. They say that the U.S. has long been a protector of dictators in Africa. And, it's rather rich of them to complain about China as being, as gobbling up natural resources, when the US and indeed Western nations have for 200 years been doing the very same thing. And the Guardian goes on to say that even more importantly, that it's actually good to see, some African pundits are saying it's good to see these nations playing off against each other, the US against China, but at the same time, the so-called aid that's being promised by countries like the US is tied, to all kinds of conditions which in the end are not benefiting the African continent as much as the US corporate elements.
OK, so very serious stuff there. And the Huffington Post also has a video of Hillary Clinton dancing in South Africa as well. You can take a look at that. We'll probably link through to it on the France 24 website. Thanks very much, Kyle Brown, for that roundup of the international papers.
Watch all of France 24 on france24.com. It now features more content and is quicker and easier to use. 24 hours a day, wherever you are, visit our website and catch up on all the latest news. Watch the channel in high definition. Pause live TV and watch programs from the past 24 hours at the click of a button. Find our reports, programs and web documentaries in seconds. All of France 24 in French, English and Arabic on france24.com. Every week, France 24 brings you all the latest news from the world of sailing and water sports. Follow the action from the major international sailing events. Catch up with the latest technological advances from the boat shows. Join us. Become part of the crew. Connect with the world of sea lovers and water sports enthusiasts. Follow the Call of the Sea with Whirlwinds, Saturday, 12:40 p.m. Paris time on France 24.